Sure that I've got my spray certificate numbers. These are the contractor's certificate numbers. This is my agronomist that comes onto the farm.
Did you have to go for a test?
Yes. To
Or
work.
did they come here?
I had to go off to a test. I went down to Avebury to do a PA1 and PA2, which is PA1 is so that I can handle the chemical safely. PA2 is so that I can apply the chemical with my tractor mounted sprayer. I also have PA4W, which means that I can use a knapsack sprayer and go and spray, and the W means that I'm legally allowed to spray on water. Alright, so I can spray a ditch out or something like that. Last year I did a PA4S, which means that I can now legally apply slug pellets to our countryside, which...
So why the difference between you and a gardener? Because
well, this is my argument.
I can go and spray everything I like. I can put slug pellets in.
And where do you wash?
And where
do you wash your sprayer?
But
where do you wash your sprayer? Where do you wash your sprayer after you've finished your knapsack?
Yeah.
Where's a knapsack sprayer? Where do you wash it?
Well, for fear of being...
Okay, we won't answer that one. I'll tell you where 99% of all people wash their sprayers is they then wash it by the outside tap and tip it down the drain.
Yeah.
We get the blame for it, all right? Because you can trace any chemical 1 part per billion parts of water, all right? Now we're going through this. This is my passport certificate to say that I've got my new certificate numbers to come up. These passports go on the stickers go on the passports when I sell the grain. All right.
So a lorry comes in, loads up with grain.
This is health and safety gone mad again. I have to sample the lorry load.
Before it goes on to the lorry?
I have to sample the lorry load once it's gone onto the lorry.
Right.
Okay. But health and safety wise, I'm not allowed to climb onto the man's lorry to do it.
Right.
All right. So I don't quite know how
so
I'm
you've got some very long arms.
Yeah, I've got long arms. All right. So I don't quite know how I'm going to sample the lorry. With from the ground, because I'm not allowed to climb onto his machine. So I sample it. He then pulls his sheet over, and I give him a passport to say, this is what this the crop hasn't had this, and it applies to all the legislation. Blah 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 blah. So we go through those. Red tractor. That's more pages of what wheat crops and what we've got. Napa farm. We then come into this. Here is a crop protection management plan. This is to do with spraying, the legislation on what am I doing to make sure that we're keeping up with the standards. Are we making sure that our sprayer is tested? What are the sort of things are we doing to try and improve? It's all about trying to get improvement. There's about 20-25 pages in there of questions to fill in, and at the end of it it's under different sections. You've got planning and preparation, field management, sprayer operation, storing and record keeping. So the idea is you get scored, and the higher the score you've got, I think it is, the better you are.
So who does the scoring then?
It's all done self-assessment. You fill out that. My agronomist and I actually go through this. And we say, right, have you been on a spray course lately? Yes, so that gives me a point or a couple of points or something like that. It goes about, when you talk about field management, we don't spray. We've got every field on the farm has got a 6 metre grass strip around it. They're not for Joe Public to walk their bloody dogs around.
As they do.
All right, which people think it's their God-given right. I've walked around here for 20 years. That's funny. The grass strips were only put in 10 years ago. So it's not. They're there for the environment. We're not even supposed to drive the tractors on them. But we do to top the first 3 metres against the crop, which we're legally allowed to do. That's the only time we should drive on them. But you've got Joe Public going around there. They've got the Labrador dogs and the Spaniel dogs and the Terrier dogs, and they're into all the grass.
I was going to say they're not even on a lead, because all they think of is, the dogs are safe because there are no cars.
That's my emergency contact numbers. which I have to keep, which is my doctor, my nearest hospital A&E, my vet, the Thames Water, the boss, and all that sort of carry on. It all goes into the type of emergency, whether it is a failure of water supply, electricity, gas, whatever, which doesn't apply to us. Then it goes in my plan, what I'll do. I have to keep a copy of all that, locations of washing facilities, blah, 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 blah. A complaints sheet in case somebody has a complaint against us. A spillage contingency plan, what I'll do. I quite like this one because it says, in the event of a spillage or leak, don't panic. Turn off any running water, turn off any machinery or equipment, pour cat litter onto spillage or leak. Use sand if required from temporary bund to form a temporary bund around the spillage or leak. If unable to contain the leak or satisfied acceptably standard, contact the following. Bruce Lee, JCB digger.
Dear.
Which I actually think Bruce Lee is your brother's phone number.
It is, isn't it? 850. It is, that's
I
right.
know it is. He's down on my contingency plan as Bruce Lee, the JCB digger driver.
All right.
This is my GM declaration to say that there is no GM crops on this farm, grown anywhere or stored on this farm. That's
Godfathers.
rodent control. This is a letter that goes to the fire and rescue people to let them know that I'm storing fertiliser on the farm and how much I've got, and that's sent off every year. I have to send a letter to them, and then I have to send a letter to the Health and Safety Executive to let him know that I'm storing fertiliser on the farm. That's another copy that has to go off every year. This is a list of all the chemicals kept in my store, and this was supposed to be updated on a regular basis. It was last done on the 18th of the 1st, 2011. This is a sprayer cleaning and maintenance record. Then we go into...
The public doesn't know.
We've got other cleaning and maintenance records. We've then got, this one here is a grain store risk assessment. And here I've got what the risk is. I've got the hazard, the risk, the action taken, and the recommendation if I have a problem for the roofs, the ceilings, the walls, the floor area, windows, machinery, and even the entry and exit points. That's the grain store cleaning record. Pest control. This is to decide whether there's birds or insects or whatever, or rats in my grain store. Recorded and...
No birds are allowed nowadays, are they?
No, it has to be completely bird-proof and rat-proof. This is for a list of every trailer load that comes into the farm. It has the moisture taken of it, and it has to be recorded on what bin it is put in.
When you're harvesting...
When I harvest, I record every trailer load, the moisture of every trailer load that comes in, and the location it has gone to.
This is law.
This is not so much recording the moisture of every trailer load, but it has to be recorded what field it's come from and which bin it's gone to. So that when they come to sample it, they can say, yes, we'll have grain from bin 1 or bin 2 only. And I can trace, I can go back, I can tell you what grain is in bin 1. I can then go back and tell you what grain was in bin 1 last year. I can tell you what field it was growing in. I can tell you what chemicals have gone onto that field. I can tell you what fertiliser has been put on that field. I can tell you the day that it was ploughed. I can tell you the day it was drilled. I can tell you the day it was sprayed.
And this is required by EEC regulations.
That's right. I can tell you the time.
What a load of baloney.
I can tell you the time I started to spray the field. I can tell you the time I finished to spray the field. I can tell you the wind direction, the wind speed, the temperature.
You know the most amazing
And you still want to be in farming?
The most amazing thing is you've got time to actually do
farming.
Well, this is why we haven't. All right. This is my fertiliser spinner. They're keeping a record of when the maintenance on that. Every time it's used, after it's been used, it's been washed out and put away. Before it's used, it's been checked and calibrated before it was used. Grain store cleaning and maintenance record. anything that's been done to the grain store, whether it's been swept out, any, grain floors put down, bait traps put in. What have we got? Spraying the grain store for bugs and that sort of thing. That's been through that one. This, then we go into fusarium, talking about fusarium on wheat, how to check for fusarium in your wheat. This is how to score it, what crop was growing in the field beforehand, what chemicals it's had on it, blah, 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 your rainfall. This is when we've drilled our, we've cleaned our own seed. It can tell me what chemicals have gone on to the seed. It can also tell me on here it should have the man's number to say that he's qualified to do that, all right, which goes back to similar thing to my spraying certificate. He's got to have a certificate to handle the chemical to make sure he's competent at that. This is, what's this one? This is a seed lab analysis report. This is fertilizer into the farm. This is spraying of the chemical store. Spraying in the chemical store. This sign here, I'm not allowed to go into that on the 3rd day of July, and I'm supposed to stay out of there for 24 hours. Do not enter after being sprayed. This is the hazardous information sheet that goes with the spraying of the chemical store. Have to keep that. This is a tractor mounted front end loader which has to be tested every year to make sure that it's up to standard. That is the one for the teleporter, to say that's up to standard. This is
every tractor has to.
Anything that lifts has to have a safety certificate. This is one for the air compressor to say that it's up to standard and it's not got rusty holes in it. This is one to say that my fertilizer spinner has been tested and passed. Alright, it was last tested on the 24th of the 2nd, 2011. It has to be tested every year and calibrated on a regular basis. This is fertilizer, that was last year's test certificate. This is my sprayer certificate to say that my sprayer has been tested and has passed. Okay, once I get that little sticker, the sticker's supposed to be stuck on the machine, but they get dirty and you can't always see it, so I keep it there just purely for safety's sake. All these certificates all cost. To get the fertilizer spinner tested costs us 150 quid. To get the sprayer tested costs us 150, 200 quid to get it tested. Alright, what else do we want to know?
My godfathers. That is unbelievable.
This is to say, this was last year's report for this contractor that comes onto the farm to say that he's got his sprayer certificate, he's got his PA1 and PA2, and also that the sprayer is has got it past its certificate as well. Then we go into the spray sheets, which have to be recorded: start time or date, start time, finish time, wind speed, direction, and the temperature. It's also have to record whether I've got a 1 metre, 2 metre, 3 metre, 4 metre or 5 metre buffer zone, which means how far away it is from a water course. On this page, it also, up the top here, it'll tell me that it has a Lear operating classification B, which is to do with the chemicals that I'm using. It also tells me what water volume to use. You've got...
God.
Here's my agricultural waste exemption to say that I'm allowed to keep tyres on the farm. What else am I allowed to do? I'm allowed to spread diluted milk on the farm, burning waste in an incinerator, but I'm only allowed to burn green waste. I cannot burn anything else.
Dear.
What else do you want to know?
You've put me off of farming.
But this is our waste license to say that we can carry waste. That's our BIFA control to say that this is our BIFA contract to say that we're under waste control. there's you know, there's pages and pages of hazardous waste registration report to prove that I've kept it all. Our certificate to say that we've passed everything.
And that sheet underneath that you showed me at
That
the beginning.
sheet there is
Yeah.
that sheet there is a map of the farm showing us what the wild bird plots that we're going to put on and the wild and nectar plots that we're going to have around the farm. This area here has gone into a scheme where we're not allowed to plough it anymore. It all has to be done minimum cultivation. These fields here are gone into arable reversion, which means they've been taken out of arable ground and they've been planted in wild grasses and flowers and that sort of thing, and they're basically, it's just a habitat for wildlife. You know, we're allowed to mow hay off them once a year. We're not allowed to cut it until the 15th of July. Till all
Is
of
that
it.
so the seeds can drop
The
out?
seeds drop and ground nesting birds have all gone and that sort of carry on. So there's, you know, it's unbelievable.
It's what they try to do at Bampton churchyard.
Yeah.
Yeah. It wouldn't. To be fair, that wouldn't work there because the churchyard needs to be kept tidy.
Absolutely. Good man, good man. We're on a different subject altogether there.
That's right. But anyway, that'll do.
One thing, Rob, do you think that's all worthwhile?
Some of it yes, some of it no. There's too much.
Absolutely.
There's too much. There's everything that's in here. This is only one folder of about 8. You know, I can go and I can tell you manure management plans, fertilizer action plans. There's folders and folders and folders, paperwork after paperwork after paperwork.
Yeah.
It's just not.
No, after seeing all that, Rob, I'm not envious of you sitting on that tractor with a refrigerator in there, with all radio and telephone connections. I'm not envious of it. I enjoyed myself better sat on an open tractor with no bloody paperwork. I was the happier man of the two of us.
I'm still happy. I'm still happy.
Thank you very much, Robert, for
Right.
bringing us up to date. Because so we started with Tommy. He started age 14 in 1935, and here we are, 35 years old and farming today.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Lovely.